This is a warning about the central bank digital currency. And for once, I'm not going to be doing most of the talking. Nigel Farage is. I'm Graniopteryx. OK, before we start, I'll tell you what this is all about. The central bank digital currency are a form of digital currency issued by a country's central bank. That sounds reasonable enough, doesn't it? They are similar to cryptocurrencies, except that their value is fixed by the central bank and equivalent to the country's fiat currency. Oh, so it means that the bank has a cryptocurrency and they're telling you how much each Bitcoin is worth. And in many respects, it means you can switch bank accounts quickly, you can make payments easily, that sort of thing. But the problem is that when this becomes the norm, and only the norm, the government can dictate how you spend your money, or indeed if you can spend your money. And I'm just going to let Nigel Farage talk about this. So first of all, there's this.
I said they'd go for central bank digital currencies, a cashless society, and the arguments for it are clear. It'll be quick, easy, cheap to transact. There'll be no problems at all, no loose change lying around. There'll be lots and lots of arguments for it. Well, this week, the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Bank of England have said by 2030, Bitcoin, a central bank digital currency, will be up and running. It will, to begin with, be limited in scope, but with huge ambitions for the years to come. I think this could pose some real threats. It actually gives government pretty much total control over our lives, because they can just press a button and close our bank accounts. No, they wouldn't do that now, would they? Well, think about it. Those Canadian truckers, they were legally and lawfully going about their business driving trucks, but legislation came in demanding that unless they'd been double vaxxed, they couldn't continue in their cabins doing long-distance lorry driving. And they protested. And in the end, their bank accounts were closed down by the Canadian government. Well, with the central bank digital currency, anyone that decides to stand up and fight against the government could be pressed down simply with the push of a button. That is my concern.
And I'm interrupting myself here to remind you to click like, to subscribe and to share. And if you're on YouTube, remember to click the notification bell. All the links to my other channels are in the description, including links to donation sites. I'm always grateful for donations, of course, but just clicking like is the best thing you can do for this video and my channel generally. And I'm reminding you that the Christmas 2023 competition is now open. The link to the video telling you all about it is also in the description. So, and he's made a very good point there. I was the one trying to donate to the truckers and I couldn't. By the time I got there, everything had been closed down. And the government could starve them and freeze them. And then, of course, they were threatening to take their children because, of course, the children were in a bad situation. And this is really horrifying. And the problem is, it sounds good, but the trouble is that there is no power that you give to a government that the government will not abuse. The trouble with a lot of people is they have too much trust in government. Now, I'm going to go into another little thing from Nigel. I hope he forgives me for calling him Nigel. This was a cut down video on a Twitter feed.
2030, the United Kingdom will introduce central bank digital currency. They're recruiting staff at the moment. 100 world governments are now heading towards CBDC. If we have CBDCs in a cashless, digitised society, our spending can be controlled.
Where we spend it, how we spend it, when we spend it.
And it's already happening. I had one bloke wrote to me, very successful, older guy, made fortunes as an entrepreneur. Says to his local bank in the West Country, I want to get 25 grand in cash. Goes in to get the cash. The man addresses off for the day. He was a junior manager. What do you want the cash for? Well, it is my money. You know, I have banked it for half a century. I've got millions through this account every year. What do you want the cash for? He said, well, I'm going to buy Christmas presents. I'm going to buy a boat. Anyway, she refused him the money. He remonstrated. He said, I didn't swear. I didn't shout. Account closed.
Account closed. That was it. Now, that happened to Farage as well, but can you imagine the terrifying thing when you have money, looks like hundreds of thousands in a bank account, and then the bank decides they don't like you and they just close your account down arbitrarily? I mean, you know, we live on that sort of thing. It's not like we're peasants, you know, and we just go back to hoeing our turnips or whatever. Now, the government also, I've been trying to think of a way of making a video about that as well. They are going to be closing down our ability to use the internet come March with a new bill that's going to... So they're touting it as the safe... Britain, the United Kingdom, will be the safest place in the world for children to use the internet. The safest place to be on the internet. Here, look. The UK's controversial online safety bill finally becomes the law. The bill, which aims to make the UK the safest place in the world to be online, received royal assent today, but its contents have been contentious, especially because of their potential impact on encrypted messaging. The UK's online safety bill aims to make the country the safest place in the world to be online. Is that supposed to be an advantage? Let's see. Although it's now law, online platforms will not need to immediately comply with all of their duties under the bill, which is now known as the Online Safety Act. You see, it's just a gradual strangulation. It doesn't happen all at once. Aren't you the lucky ones? UK telecoms regulator, Ofcom, which is in charge of enforcing the rules, plans to publish its codes of practice in 3 phases. So we have to look for advice from on high. And that on high means civil servants who've decided one thing or the other. You know, there's a Taoist... saying, trying to, well, it wasn't said like that, but it was trying to micromanage a country is like trying to cook a small fish in a big pot. It just disintegrates. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to have all these different civil servants making different rules, and it's just going to turn into chaos. But meanwhile, freedom of speech will be the first casualty. Child safety, underage access to pornography, transparency. I mean, empowerment tools. It's just what how soon before they say, well, certain opinions are not, well, pornography isn't. So are you good with that? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. How about criticising the government? Oh, no. Well, that's out of the law now. You've had it, mate. So we've given them that, and now we're giving them this, our money as well, our ability to spend money. It's just shocking, and it's just falling under the radar all the time. We're giving too much power to our government, and nobody's talking about it. When I start a video saying, well, there's this bill coming in March that's going to choke off certain things on the internet, or make, in this case, make the internet providers responsible for any harm that happens, so that they're going to be, you know, drawing in more and more and more because they're terrified of running up against the British government or whichever government, because the British government are starting this, but it'll go round the world. And we are allowing this because the subject is boring. And it's just slipping under the radar. There's so many problems in this country, and these bills are just going through, and this bill's going through. And everybody's talking about the upheaval in the Conservative Party. Well, yeah, they may upheave, but will the Labour Party change anything when they get in? No, they won't. In fact, I have a suspicion they'll make it worse, because there's nothing like socialism for controlling the people, because of course the people need to be controlled, don't they? I mean, that stands to reason, doesn't it? That's the socialist mentality. Somehow we've got to get out of this. I can't do anything to stop that bill going through. I think it's March it's coming in. I can't do anything. I could just talk to you about it. I can't do anything about this either. I can just talk to you about it. But the more people who talk about it, maybe it'll give some sort of pause. We are giving too much of our power, of our lives, of our agency, of our self-determination to our governments. And they're always pushing it through in the name of safety. I hear people on the phone now, you know, when they're saying goodbye to me, they don't say goodbye, good afternoon, well, they say stay safe. This to a woman who rides horses. And you know what? That might not be going on for so long either. After all, riding horses is a pretty dangerous thing to do. When will it stop in the name of our own safety? Okay, that's it. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Grannyopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.grannyopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.